for that. You have to think about the voters. You could be a leftist doing your little cute stream and go, oh, dude, I know, man, and there's no crime. It's, yeah, I know everything. Well, yeah, then why did Prop 36 win easily? Why did George Gascon lose? Why did all the progressives, so-called progressives in Portland lose, in Seattle lose, San Francisco lose, New York lose? Why did you lose every goddamn election if you know so much? No, because you know what? Because I'm such a genius. I have this revolutionary idea that apparently the online leftist clown asses I've never thought of. People don't like to be attacked. Then Majority Report jumped in, and Lance from the Serfs, and all the other little dirtbags jumped in, and they were like, no, Cenk and TYT are turning right. The 13 douchebags are right. We need to protect every trans should get free surgery. We got, even in China, even though we have nothing to do with China, we hate them, they're Nazis.
You got to, okay.
I mean, I'm 100% right. Every dirtbag show did it.
You got to calm down.
Every dirtbag show did it. Tell me I'm wrong.
This is reframing an issue that is, now we've moved away from the electoral consequences of a trans ad to your own personal anger and frustration that you have with left-wing media online.
Look, the idiots are making everyone think they are the left. They're like, we're the left, we're the real left. Okay, we are super extreme. We want free surgeries for every criminal. Yes, we're the left. And oh, Nazi.
So I've covered TYT a fair bit on this channel recently with their weird centrist right-wing pivot, but I thought we'd talk about it again in light, of course, of Cenk going on Hassan's stream and talking more about, you know, how much he hates the left, and talk about his weird sucking up to Elon Musk and groveling to MAGA people on Twitter. And a lot of people have been saying, and I've seen this, that this is like purely financial. And it's basically a grift. Like TYT is pivoting towards the center because of financial incentive. And obviously I'm not them. I don't know why they're doing it completely, but I don't really think this is as big of a factor as people say. I think genuinely people like Cenk and Anna have had their brains like firmly broken by Twitter, and they wouldn't be the first at all. Like, I've made videos about Jordan Peterson, Elon Musk, and J.K. Rowling, all terrible people, and terrible people who didn't need Twitter to make them terrible. At the same time, the feedback loop of Twitter did radicalize these people. These echo chambers they created, the feedback loop of saying something and getting like an overwhelmingly positive reception, especially when you are voicing your grievance with like the left. And when Cenk and Anna say something against the left, then all of their replies are conservatives talking about how great they are now. So I want to talk about that because I firmly believe it's a couple things. Donald Trump has broken TYT's brain, and Twitter has broken the brain of its hosts, where they now think that they can have a more productive relationship with far-right conservatives than they can with actual leftists. And also what I thought was funny about both of them, they seem to not actually understand politics at all, because I've seen them both categorized. There's the populist left, which Cenk and Anna are and TYT are. Then there's the woke left, which is people like myself probably, and other people with similar like left-wing politics. And then there's the corporate left, which is like the standard Democrats. And I don't understand why they think we don't care about like populist things, like policies that benefit everyone. And Anna in particular has made me realize like maybe these people weren't ever left-wing. She talked about recently like one of her Trump supporting like neighbors, and they've been talking a lot more about like they regret demonizing all conservatives, right? And demonizing them all as like irredeemable and everything like that. And it's like, congratulations, you've discovered left-wing politics for the first time, where we realize people are brainwashed by the system and we want to offer them better material conditions and basically try and break through the brainwashing, which makes them constantly vote against their own interest and prop up the powerful, right? That's what actual populists like myself, that's what we actually want. But they've convinced themselves, no, we are the enemy, the left wing are the enemy, and people like Elon Musk are the allies to take on the establishment. The richest man in the world who personally bankrolled an ex-president's campaign to become president again is the anti-establishment. So I'm going to talk about all of this today. Please like the video, let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and check me out on social media at the Kavernacle, on Instagram, on Blue Sky, Threads, Twitter, on basically everything. And if you want to support my work, check out my Patreon as well. And let's get into the rest of the video. So although I've made videos criticizing TYT, I've also, if you've been following me long enough, I've told you guys how I've been personally influenced by TYT to start my YouTube channel in the first place. If you wanted some more like left-wing source of political news on YouTube, there really wasn't much around. Like, TYT has been big for a long, long time. At the same time, there wasn't really stuff to, you know, consume the news from like a left-wing perspective. And it served a good purpose in that regards. Like, lots of people who are YouTubers now, particularly ones who are in like the more like newsy space, they watch TYT, they've collabed with TYT. So it's something that I think had a good purpose. And although I've never like completely one-for-one agreed with the coverage, unlike how they depict us woke leftists, I didn't actually care, because I liked more of what they were saying than stuff I disagreed with, and it was a good way to get my US news, which I appreciated. And recently, since I've stopped watching them and I've switched to like the Majority Report for like US coverage, it is a bit of like whiplash, because the TYT show is like pretty well produced, more like a news show, very easy to get the information through Cenk and Anna if you just want the story, where something like the Majority Report is more like a live stream, like they're reacting to stuff, they are taking phone calls, and it's a lot less edited, which some people might like, but it's kind of hard to go from one thing to then the other without any sort of like adjustment period. I've done the adjustment period now, but I would also be lying if I said Majority Report perfectly fills the void that TYT left behind for me in terms of consuming US news on YouTube, because it doesn't. And if you can have like the old TYT back, where they weren't really reactionary against trans people and left-wing people, I would say that's a good thing, generally for the left online. So yeah, TYT had value to the left online, but we don't need them anymore. There's so many different shows to get your news from, and there's just so much left-wing content now. Like, I've been making YouTube videos since 2017, like very political left-wing ones since like late 2018. I remember there being like nothing else really. There was like a few creators, David Dole, Humanist Report, TYT, a couple others, and that was it. That is all you had. And now we have like a massive, I wouldn't call it an ecosystem, because we're not all connected as much as people would like to say. And I don't think, you know, despite our social media bubble, there's a lot of left-wing unity online. I certainly don't feel it beyond like the Twitter echo chamber. At the same time, it's good for people. It's good this has happened, and it's good we have so many different creators on the left that are big. You know, there are some bad ones. Some people who are, let's say, connoisseurs of lolicon. But at the same time, it's largely a positive. But now let's get back to Cenk, where the election has firmly broken their brain. So I said in a video before the election, Kamala Harris basically didn't run a campaign on policy, which upset some like weird liberals in my audience. I didn't think I had many liberals in my audience who were insisting that no, she had great policies and she would likely win the election. She didn't, and it's pretty clear why to most people on the left. She didn't promise anything, and if you're already part of an administration that is unpopular and you're not promising to change anything, you're saying you're the exact same as Joe Biden, who was a terrible president, then you're going to lose the election, right? Especially in a country like America, where there are so many glaring issues. They don't even have the bare minimum we have in places like Western Europe, which also has loads of problems, right? So you don't even have universal healthcare. Was there even a campaign on healthcare at all? Like, not really. Even like reforming the system. Again, very easy to, you know, pinpoint where the Kamala Harris campaign went wrong. But seemingly Cenk does understand that, but he's bizarrely started blaming woke leftists and trans people for Harris losing, which is just completely out of touch with reality and is based on his own personal grievances with people in the YouTube scene. So if I go on his Twitter and I just start with this is insane, by the way. For someone who made so much content talking about Trump supporters and Donald Trump over the last, like, 9 years, for him to say this is crazy. So he tweets 4 days ago, "I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election, even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now. MAGA is not my mortal enemy, and neither is the extreme left, okay? My mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated. It's not just that the establishment candidate lost, it's that their media is mortally wounded. The source of their strength was not insipid politicians like McConnell and Biden. The source of their strength was their propaganda machine, the mainstream media. Now online media is strong enough that their oppressive monopoly on the American mind has been broken. Now we're in the jungle and they hate it. I love it. This uncontrolled marketplace of ideas is where I'm home. I'd rather be in the populist woods than an establishment prison." So that is where Cenk is at right now. He's actually optimistic Donald Trump's won because it's a fuck you to the establishment, which does the establishment just not mean anything anymore? If he's saying it's a fuck you to the Democratic establishment, I'd agree, because yeah, of course, they rejected the establishment candidate. They didn't reject them in 2020, but they rejected them in 2016 as well. Rejected all these like status quo, bipartisan lover politicians or whatever. So I get it. They rejected the Democratic status quo. But how is Donald Trump not the status quo, right? So Donald Trump was the president. Donald Trump is a billionaire. Donald Trump is funded by Elon Musk, one of the richest men in the entire world. And if we're talking about mainstream news as well, Fox News is the most popular news channel by far in America. Who did they promote 24/7? Donald Trump as well. So there you go. Establishment press for Donald Trump. New York Post, establishment press. Rupert Murdoch press. Rupert Murdoch press were in the bag for Trump as well. So the right-wing establishment loves Donald Trump as well. Yes, Donald Trump wasn't the conventional politician in 2016. Donald Trump is sometimes having weird opinions about stuff, but at the same time, look at who he's appointed so far to his cabinet. Neocons, standard politicians like Marco Rubio, and then just like loads of nepotism hires like fathers-in-laws and son-in-laws and all that shit in like ambassador positions. It's pretty clear Donald Trump is the establishment as well. Him winning, using the sentiment sometimes of the anti-establishment, like maybe saying stuff about like anti-war, like bringing peace to the Middle East and Ukraine, that is just a rhetorical device he used. And you'd have to be an idiot, which Cenk seems to be, if you think MAGA conservatives actually care about what he does as president, right? No one is going to stop supporting Donald Trump if he goes back on his promises, because we already know from the first time this didn't happen before, right? Donald Trump promised loads of things and didn't do any of them, and they voted him in again after having another election where he nearly won and got an insane number of votes. So how is voting for Donald Trump any sort of fuck you to the establishment? It's not. It's just a different kind of establishment. Yeah, the mainstream political establishment of like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, maybe. MSNBC, maybe. Fox News, one of the biggest social media platforms, which became the Trump campaign in Twitter. Mark Zuckerberg became pro-Trump as well, and he runs most of the world's social media. And we have all of this stuff, and they all wanted Trump to win. So, again, your brain has been fully cooked by Twitter replies, and maybe reading too many libertarians on Twitter thinking they actually matter in the real world, to think that the establishment has been defeated, by the US essentially going well on its way to becoming just like Russia. How is that a fuck you to the establishment? It really isn't. So just some more of his other tweets. So Cenk loved this. See, he goes, "Hey Elon Musk, put me in charge of the Pentagon and I'll slash $4 billion easy. That'll get you 20% to your goal of $2 trillion in cut in the Pentagon. Right out the gate. I went to Wharton 3 years before you. I own a media company, so I know how to run a business. If you really want to cut, put me in, coach." Elon Musk basically rejecting him. Specific suggestions are welcome. Cenk says, "As you know, you need to see the line items in the budget, but I have one suggestion already. The generals are not allowed to get a job with defense contractors for 10 years. They authorize so much wasteful spending because they're going to get hired by those same companies." Donald Trump Jr. chimes in, "This is a great idea that has been discussed." So again, he's trying to appeal to MAGA here, saying, "I'm going to make my boldest prediction yet. I think at least half of Trump's base are actual populists and they will challenge him if he goes awry." Nope. "No one on the left will believe me." Yep, they think everyone in MAGA is in a cult, which you actually pushed for years and years and years, and will follow Trump no matter what. I disagree. So what you're seeing with all these tweets and him appealing to Elon Musk is he thinks there is like a populist sentiment in America that we all share. And it's not just shared by like the population of America who might have voted for Donald Trump and, you know, they've fallen on hard times and they could actually be susceptible to messaging around class and bettering their material conditions and giving them healthcare, stuff like that, right? We're not talking about all those people. What Cenk is saying a lot with these people is Elon Musk, Donald Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. are good faith actors, but when they say they want to cut the Pentagon budget, or when they say they want to cut stuff and put that into like funding American programs, that they're actually sincere and it wasn't to get power. Like Elon Musk and Donald Trump have showed, Donald Trump especially was president for 4 years. I don't have to tell you he's untrustworthy and he's not going to do any of the good things that he said he might do. There's evidence that he didn't do anything, right? So what makes the difference this time? Why are you suddenly optimistic when a worse version of him has been put in power, where he has even worse people around him pushing him in an even worse direction? You would have fully had to have bought into the Trumpist propaganda about him being anti-war, about him being like anti-corporation or anti the deep state. He's none of those things. And he proved it. That's how I can say that. He proved it. And that's what happened in the first election. Some people voted for him because he would say stuff like, I was against the Iraq war, and he would roast like Jeb Bush to his face about that. He would talk about how he was against like foreign wars, foreign intervention. And then when he got into power, he appointed all the same neocons that were in the Bush administration. And then he did more war than Obama, right? So when he does that, I don't think he's anti-war or pro-populist or he's going to cut the Pentagon budget. He's probably going to give them more money. But this is what I'm talking about, like Twitter echo chambers. Cenk has been like radicalized into believing that what he reads on Twitter from MAGA in his replies talking about this stuff is not reflective of the reality of politics and is not reflective of what Donald Trump's going to do. And no, he's not going to take your idea to cut the Pentagon budget, and he's probably not going to do that. He's probably not going to do that, and I would be surprised if Elon Musk is part of the administration for the whole time, because he's probably going to fire him as well. We know who Trump is. Let's stop pretending it's 2016 and he's an outsider and a bit unhinged and we don't understand what he's going to do. We saw what he did, and it was pretty much the exact same shit that Obama did and the exact same shit that Joe Biden did, like broadly 80%, with some more like horrible aspects, you know, things to do with like demonizing trans people, and as we've seen with different things he said he's going to do this time, lots of attacks on like civil rights of LGBT people, women, and everything like that. So that's all going to be worse. So what are you optimistic about? He's going to be a worse version of himself like 4 years ago? Like that's a reason for optimism? So in the tweet and spree I read you, Cenk said that he thinks that like Elon Musk or Donald Trump would come on TYT. And what's interesting, when I'm seeing TYT like have more right-wing people on, I'm seeing Anna Kasparian go on like all the right-wing podcasts, you're thinking like, why don't you invite some leftists on your show? Like if you are a show that likes balance, if you're a show that wants to hear from everyone, where are the left-wing guests? Like why aren't you inviting left-wing people on? Now, first of all, Sam Cedar actually said recently that him and Cenk had been speaking this year, and Sam said he would either go on TYT or Cenk was welcome to come on the Majority Report. And he says Cenk just turned him down.
The last, you know, any type of communication I had with Cenk was, I think, like in July. And it was in response to like the, I don't know, fourth or fifth thing that I had seen that I found sort of offensive and wrong. And to be honest with you, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it was about trans stuff, but it could also have been about, you know, they're chasing that fake Venezuelan story. I don't remember when it was. Maybe that was in the fall, so maybe it was not that. It was probably the trans stuff. And I made it clear to Cenk that he was invited to come on the show, and you know, we could have a debate, we could discuss whatever. I mean, you know. And he made it clear to me that he was not interested in that. He was mad. He was very, very mad about all of it. And I will just say, like, I didn't hear any issue that he had with the stuff that we talk about. He may have issues with me personally. That's fine. I don't care.
So that's clearly like not happening, and there's some bad blood between them where Cenk seems to hate Sam Cedar because, yeah, a lot of left-wing people are attacking TYT hosts for saying reactionary right-wing things because you're on our side with a massive platform and we're going to criticize you when you say that stuff. And if you react negatively, that's on you. And what we're seeing with both of them is their politics are being informed by who's nice to them. So Donald Trump Jr. and Elon Musk reply to Cenk on Twitter. So he thinks they're all right, actually, where left-wing people like myself have been attacking them and criticizing them. So they actually hate all of them. And he actually said as much to Hassan recently on their Jenksgiving debate stream they do every year on Thanksgiving. So listen to this.
Also gotten mad at me as well, time and time again, on specific issues, maybe ones that even pertain to trans rights. Okay, it literally doesn't matter. People get very passionate, understanding. I'm very understanding.
Shocking agreement. I agree. There's 13 douchebags online. That's what I said from day one.
I know, but why the would you ever hyper focus on
but
people like
because
that?
Look, no. So you might be doing the right thing. Hold on.
You're doing the Bill Maher thing.
No,
you're demanding that there needs to be a sister soldier.
Bullshit.
No, you're
Hold
doing
on,
the
let me
sister
explain.
soldier moment.
Reasonable things on earth, which you now agree with, apparently. Then what happened? It wasn't just the 13 douchebags online. And by the way, everybody said, no. Those 13 douchebags represent all the left. You're not on the left anymore because the 13 douchebags control the left. And then what happened next? Then Majority Report jumped in, and Lance from the Serfs, and all the other little dirtbags jumped in, and they were like, no, Cenk and Anna are turning right. The 13 douchebags are right. We need to protect every trans person should get free surgery.
We got
even in China, even though we have nothing to do with China, we hate them. They're Nazis.
You got to, okay.
I mean, I'm 100% right. Every dirtbag show did it.
You got to calm
Every
down.
dirtbag show did it.
Your own personal anger and frustration that you have with left-wing media online. We are
so. Do you agree left-wing media online? Those guys that I listed are full of shit.
I have
and in a tiny, stupid minority.
I have disagreements with everyone in this space, but there's a reason why, seemingly, I don't catch the same amount of strays that you do because I don't hyper focus.
I can tell you why.
I don't hyper focus. What do you think it is?
They think you're hot, young. I don't mean attractive. God bless on that. Okay. I'm also obviously hot. I mean, as in they think, oh, the young people watch Hassan. He's cool. And you give the thing of like, oh, no, trans people are right on everything, right? You don't come out and make the distinctions that Anna and I made. Okay, so they think, oh, no, he's good. He's extreme as we are.
I think
he's woke left. Yay, extremeness.
I think the reason, first of all, you're...
Okay, by the way, Majority Report and all of you guys, you better attack him. He apparently agrees with me. Okay, you better attack him. You're not going to attack him, are you?
You're hyper personalizing this into like criticisms that you've received.
Somebody comes and punches you in the face 12 times, and you go, whoa, what? Why are you hyper personalizing it?
Because
just because I called you a Nazi, now it's personal to you.
That meltdown is really funny, but I also think it's so telling, right? He cares so much about what everyone else says about him. And what is so insane about this is when Anna Kasparian originally wrote that like birthing person tweet, because obviously I follow like all, the left-wing YouTubers, I saw in real time them all offering good faith criticism. I personally know a couple of them who actually like DMs Anna Kasparian and talked to her in the DMs about this and why it was wrong and misinformed. And then when they started doubling down on it and going after other leftists, like Cenk going after Lance from the Serfs and stuff, that's when people got a bit more, I wouldn't even call it spicy. People just saying like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, why are you doing this? Why are you attacking people that if you actually care about pushing a message on an election, these people actually agree with you on most things. We're talking about like just US electoral politics and what people want, let's say like universal healthcare and all that crap. These people agree with you, but you're going after them and then you're saying you're optimistic because MAGA won. Do you not understand how much your brain has been rotted? If you're coming after like left-wing people who, let's keep it real, aren't like radical communists, right? He's going after Sam Cedar and the Majority Report. Like, I'm an actual communist, right? I like Majority Report and I think they're sympathetic to more socialist messaging. Sam Cedar is not some sort of radical communist though, and he has plenty of criticism for these people. And it drives them mad just because left-wing people are not conceding on a right-wing culture war framing of trans rights. So yeah, Cenk has clearly got a lot of heat for the online left based on people being mean to him on Twitter, right? But I think people like Cenk and Anna, they don't live in the real world anymore. And that's why, like, Anna Kasparian's talking a lot about, like, talking to Trump supporters in her real life and it being such a revelation. These people have lived online for so long, they don't realize what normal people believe, right? Especially with things like trans rights versus, like, you know, derailing economic populism. I made a video recently where I outlined in 2008, they're like very racist people voting for Obama based on the economy. And I'm sure Cenk would agree with that. But Kamala Harris didn't either campaign on any economic issue or social issue, right? She wasn't standing up for trans rights in a massive way and making it part of her campaign, right? So you can't blame, firstly, that issue for her losing, and you can't blame the left-wing people on Twitter and YouTube for making her lose because of this.
But you idiots hate policy. All you want is identity politic bullshit, and you think that drives ratings, and you want me to show humility to those morons? None online who are like, oh my God, if you don't agree to free surgeries for every trans person on planet Earth, you're a Nazi. Well, you know those people exist, and those people, that is the radical left, and they are stupid, and they do cost us elections.
No, you're hyper focusing, and I've had this conversation privately with you many times over. You are hyper focusing on people that are in your replies on Twitter, and because
so you agree with me, that radical left
because
is bullshit,
all you interact,
stupid dumbasses. Do you agree?
So Cenk blaming left-wing media, leftists, people who stick up for trans rights for the Democrats losing an election, when the Democrats don't even represent leftists at all, is just absolutely insane behavior. And he's fully been radicalized by his own Twitter echo chamber, where because left-wing people are mean to him, he thinks they're bad and extreme. Because right-wing people are nice to him when he shits on Democrats, they're actually reasonable, and there's optimism to be had with Donald Trump becoming president again. There should be no optimism with Donald Trump becoming president, regardless of what he ran on. So yeah, like TYT is probably just going to keep spiraling and hemorrhaging viewers. I don't think Republicans and centrists are going to flock to TYT because they have their media bubbles. They don't want someone who might say something maybe more left-wing that they disagree with. They just want their echo chamber, and they're not going to subscribe to TYT. So I don't know where they're going with this. I don't think it's financial, but it could become financial. And it's just so funny. They've been demonizing people like Jimmy Dore for the longest time. This is exactly what Jimmy Dore did. He went anti-establishment, anti-West everything, and then he just started supporting Republicans because of this. And that's what they're doing right now. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.